It's Seattle Beer Week, and we're talking SuperSonics, Super Saisons, Sue Bird, and the Chuganaut with Matt from Georgetown and Sarah from Fast Fashion on this episode of Overthinkr. I don't know how, but they found us. This is Overthinkr, and we're here for Seattle Beer Week. Seattle Beer Week 2024 with a couple awesome guests. This is Sarah Moorman, sales and operations at Fast Fashion, and Matt Edwards, R&D brewer at Georgetown Brewing. This show is based around beer, but it's not necessarily about beer. It's about being a human, about being a person, and just living this awesome life and talking about all the things that we talk about around beer. But then it's also a little bit about beer. This is Overthinkr. It's a production of ZZeppelin. ZZeppelin's a media and marketing agency in Vancouver, Washington. And we're stoked to be here today, live at Seattle Beer Week at Fast Fashion in this area called Sodo. Yes, this is Sodo.
It is.
We got the Sodo Mojo.
Absolutely.
That's I love the Sodo Mojo. I grew up on the Sodo Mojo. Do you guys remember the Sodo Mojo?
That was that 2002? When was Sodo Mojo?
That was 1995.
Okay. Oh, that's when they...
We're talking Joey Cora. We're talking Chris Bosio. We're talking those Mariners.
Oh, the Mariners that
knocked out the Yankees in the first round of the playoffs.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
A long minute.
Y'all need to believe.
When did you graduate from high school, Sarah?
2008.
2008.
Okay. You, Matt? When did you graduate?
I was in 2001. It would have been in 2000, but my second grade teacher really liked me, so she kept me around for another year. So
that's how that works.
So
yeah.
Oh,
I was 2000 as well.
Okay, yeah, so same. 42.
Yep, I'm 42 as well. Well, shoot, now we're just throwing out our
now
ages
just hamming it up. We're just talking about the old times.
That's.
Can we get some prune juice for these two?
A little bit of.
Would you?
Some pomegranate juice, some beetroot juice. Keeps my blood pressure lower.
Yeah.
These are the things I'm worried about at 42.
Oh, God.
It's real.
It is.
It's real.
Things starts hurting. My head hurt this morning, and my neck, and then like down the back for no reason.
That's how it works. We're dealing with all of the effects of growing a little older. But hopefully fun things like this keep us a little young. I like to think.
I hope so.
I hope. Georgetown and Fast Fashion, not too far apart from one another. I drank at both of them today already. I'm going to drink here more, but...
Excellent.
Was down at Georgetown, crazy. Last time that I'm sorry, not the last time. The first time I came up for Seattle Beer and really came up here with the mission to explore the city for beer and just see what was going on, was 2013. 2013, things looked a lot different in Seattle in terms of a lot of things. Actually, we still had a Alaskan Way Viaduct back then. It wasn't quite a tunnel yet, which is an impressive feat of engineering, by the way. But we went around from brewery to brewery. One of those breweries we visited was Georgetown. I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth in a second. Also went to Maritime Pacific back then.
Oh, yeah.
Went to Hales Ales and Pike.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Went to Elysian pre pre-ABN
Oh, that was
Bevolution.
right.
How was
that was
that?
right about then.
Yep.
That was right about then.
Yep. It was a little before that. And so yeah, it was a fun visit, but like in most of those things that I just named in 2013, 11 years ago, we pretty much covered the town. That there wasn't, I don't think we missed much then. That's not possible today. That's not possible to come up here to Seattle for one day and expect to take in the entirety of the beer culture that is here in 2024. But in 2013, we kind of covered the bases. I don't know if...
Yeah, was there even a Ballard brew scene then, Sarah? Do you know? Like, what's the oldest brewery in Ballard? Rubens? They've been around. It might just been. Was it just then? There's no Stoop.
What about Obeck? How long has Obeck been around?
Half dozen, I think, years.
Yeah, I don't think any of those were around.
Yeah.
To my recollection, in 2013. I mean, we were deep diving, like going, there's got to be more breweries around here, because we were coming up from Portland that,
Pop
at that
Lux,
time
too.
was
How
there was a
long
lot.
Pop Lux around before they shut down?
maybe.
They might have been there. Yeah, before they shut down.
might
They
have
might have been there. Yeah, because
So another casualty.
how many breweries are in Ballard right now? Do you know? Would you say, just like guesstimate, within a few blocks? There's got to be a dozen of them.
There's a dozen.
I was going to say maybe like a dozen.
Yeah, it'd be
12
12
and
and 16 is
16.
floating. But yeah, back then, 13, there might have been 2, 3.
It was wild.
Oh,
And-
Hilliard's was probably there.
oh,
remember Hilliard's?
I think we went to Hilliard's.
Hilliard's
Yep.
was there.
And no, there
What's
was
a Hilliard's? Sorry.
there was another
Age
one.
myself.
There was another one we hit. Big something.
Big Al's.
Was it Big Al's?
But they're in South Park. Oh, a little historian over there, Kyle.
Yeah. I think they were still around.
Yeah.
So that was in only 11 years, which is not a huge amount of time. That's only a decade. There's just been a lot of development. One of those developments is that now at Georgetown you can sit down and have a beer.
Finally.
Yeah.
Took 17 years to do that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So today was my first day being at Georgetown and sitting on the patio there and having a beer, and it was wonderful. It took me back to my first visit there in 2013. We went in. We had it. I was able to get maybe a 1 ounce taste of a few things, and decide what growler I wanted to take away. And that was all I could do, was take a growler home with me. And my big discovery in 2013 was Rogers Pilsner, which I walked away with 2 growlers because it was at that time I was not really into Pilsners. Lagers wasn't quite my thing yet. And Rogers Pilsner blew my mind, and
It's
so
fantastic.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
well today that was my first beer today was going in, and I didn't look at any of the menu yet. I just Rogers Pilsner. This is what I came here to remember and to kind of take me back. And it's crazy because that was like a newer beer at the time.
That was fairly new. It hadn't been around because they just started out with the pale ale, and then they brought on the Pilsner, and I think the Choppers might have been the third one. They had Manny's, Rogers, and Chopper. Those were all the 3 owners at the time. I think Chop was like a 10% owner, and he's since retired. And then we retired, unfortunately, our Northwest Red, just because at the time no one was drinking Northwest Reds a few years ago. But there is a very strong crowd. The Celebration crowd really likes them, so we'll make them a few times a year still.
I was excited to find a lot of favorites and a lot of some new things that were fun. Just I had Lily. It's like a really crushable 6.2% IPA. Really enjoyed that today. But one that I was kind of blown away by. I didn't know you guys did this. Walking in the door is the first thing that I saw was a sign that talked about it being Bob's Beer, and there's like a Bob's Beer week. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we kind of do like a launch on Bob's birthday, and it just happens to be during Seattle Beer Week. So we do a lot of events during that time. So we've always, Georgetown's always kind of had to split themselves between Seattle Beer Week beers and then Bob's Brown Ale events. So we've tried to be, two places at once, but that's typically like we'll do stuff at the Parkway. Used to do at the Nickersons, we'll tap a keg like at Beverage Place and some of, the accounts have been with us for a long time.
It's awesome. And if you're a follower of New School Beer, or Ezra, who does New School Beer out of Portland. It's a beer publication. There's some heated controversy around brown ales, and whether or not they deserve a resurgence or if they should actually just die in a fire. Your feelings on brown ales, for the record. I'll ask both of you.
I want Sarah to go first. I've been yakking it.
I think they have their place, just like anything else. There has to be a crowd that actually likes the beer style. I have to be in kind of a mood for that beer in order to order it myself, but
a bad mood.
But there is a place for that beer. It shouldn't just like be wiped out of existence, I don't think.
Okay.
So I grew up back in the early 2000s, when I first started drinking craft beer. It was brown ales, porters, the real malt forward ones. And so it always has like a special place in my heart. And I get excited when like newer breweries like Bazaar, or if like Fast Fashion made one, or when Cloudburst makes a brown ale, and brewers who know how to make really good beer, and then they take a swing at it. And when I see it on tap, because there's a sea of IPAs, I'm like, absolutely, I'm getting that brown ale.
Totally,
I want to try it.
It stands out from
Yeah.
the like oversaturation of IPAs and lagers.
Yeah, and it's
1000%.
And like you said, it's like it depends on the day. Some days that you want, it's like it doesn't drive sales, but it deserves its place there, I think.
Right. Yeah. No, I've intentionally played the bad guy on brown ales for a while. It came from an early thing I was quoted in one time talking about,
what'd you say?
When we opened Vice Beer, I talked about how we were going to make like forward-thinking beers, IPAs, and then old school lagers, and I said we're going to skip all that stuff in the middle, like Hefeweizens and brown ales and
the dad beers.
Exactly. All the dad beers. It was like, we're going to skip the dad beers. And so, Ezra at New School kind of honed in on that and then started razzing me publicly online with every brown ale he could possibly find.
As he should.
Yeah. So now it's become this whole thing. But no, what was particularly special to me seeing that is that during this Bob's Beer brown ale week that you have at Georgetown, proceeds go to benefit Ronald McDonald House.
Absolutely, yep.
And that has a special place in my heart. I don't go to McDonald's often. But when I do go there and they ask you to donate or something, I do, because my family, when I was born, I was born with a condition called craniosynostosis, which is to say my skull was fused together. I had no soft spot, no cracks in my skull. There's another craniosynostosis in the house. This is very rare that I meet someone who was also born with this condition. Because at that time it was not a particularly survivable thing in 1982.
No.
Yeah, and so it was something that my parents were brought up here and went to Seattle Children's Hospital. That's where the operation happened. Obviously, I'm only like hours old when all this is going on, hours to weeks. But my folks got to stay at Ronald McDonald House for free, during that time. And so I've always, ever since, supported that. And so that really, like, just walking in today, not knowing that was happening, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I didn't come here for a brown ale, but now I'm definitely drinking brown ale.
I'm glad we converted you.
Yes. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Hey, did you ever have you heard the story how that came about?
No.
So Manny, before he owned the brewery, he was a counselor, I believe, at Camp Good Times, where children with terminal diseases would go there, get to be kids.
Yeah.
And he really connected with this kid, Bob, and they always stayed in touch throughout the years. And Manny even went up to Alaska for his 21 run, and unfortunately, shortly thereafter, he had passed away. But he'd always come stay at Ron McDonald House from Alaska into Seattle.
Wow.
So when Manny started the brewery, him and Roger, they reached out to Bob's parents and said, we really want to make something for Bob, and what would Bob want to drink? And so every year, that's why we make the beer from Ron McDonald House. And I think, Manny and Roger, it's about $100,000 a year we end up raising. And it's a lot of like people
That's incredible.
They don't,
That's awesome.
it's 100%
That's really cool. Yes.
And then,
Real cheers and fake cheers.
and fake,
Yes.
yeah.
For real.
But it's the community support is really good. It's like a lot of the bars, they double back. Like they'll donate all their pint sales too. And we just can get all that. So it's a huge kind of Seattle group effort for Ron McDonald House. And
So cool.
yeah.
That is so. I will. You almost won me over to brown ales. I might drink more brown ales now. But yeah. So Seattle Beer Week is happening right now. Not to cold transition from that, because it hit me in the feels. But moving right along, let's talk a little bit about Seattle Beer Week. Sarah, you're busy for Seattle Beer Week. There's a lot of things. I saw Fast Fashion's name come up more than once.
Yeah.
More than twice, more than 3 times on the Seattle Beer Week calendar. Tell us a little bit about what you have to look forward to this week.
Yeah. So, definitely this podcast recording, I was really excited about. It's awesome to bring people to this tap room because it is so unique. And I don't know. I don't think a lot of people know that this tap room exists quite yet in the Seattle market.
It's a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
To just paint a picture for folks for a second. Yeah, like you come in here. This is literally like a block and a half away from what used to be Safeco. I still call it Safeco. I'm sorry.
T-Mobile Park?
It's T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
It's T-Mobile Park now. But I've come in here when I came up for a Mariners game back in July last year. And that was my first time. I was like, oh, Fast Fashion's open here. Like, I heard this was happening. Here it is. Like, oh, rad. And it was super packed that day. So, like, I only just got to, like, get down the hallway and back. And I didn't really know what was going on around me. There's just all these little rooms of super curated, fun little pockets of fun. In every room. Like, you can see a little bit of where we're at now. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see this room is just like full of nostalgia. Like, we're talking everything from the 80s and 90s back to the like 20s and 30s of baseball and things. And like, all the furniture is super like retro modern, fun. Even today, like as we're doing this podcast, our soundboard and everything is actually on an ironing board, which is super fun. I don't know if that's possible to capture for those on YouTube, but that is super fun. There's all these like, I love the lights. They're the Topps baseball like picture cards, bubblegum lights.
You could spend a lot of time just going room to room and looking at everything, whether it's the decor, the furniture, playing the free board games, video games, pinball machines, skee ball.
Oh my goodness, the skee ball! I was here last night, by the way, because I had to get in here. We were like, how are we going to fit the podcast in here? Where are we going to set up? We didn't know. So like we came in here last night and played skee ball, and like we played it to death. We played it for hours, just going at it, trying to set new high scores. Zach, who runs the soundboard and the cameras back there, he ended up beating us with a 63. You were.
No, I got 45.
You got 45,000 last night.
63 today.
I got 63,000 today.
Wow.
So, and we're still going at it.
Christy actually was, yeah, you and Christy tied at 63, right?
Yes. Yeah. Christy came in behind me and she got a 63 as well. So,
Dang.
I wasn't going to acknowledge that because I was feeling good about my 63 until.
Just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get there. I heard Gilly. You call him Gilly, so I'm calling him Gilly.
Gilbert is our cellarman, but his nickname is Gilly.
Okay. He said that he got an 81,000 on that.
Yeah, he works here all the time.
I don't believe him.
So, he is he's a stud at the skee ball. He's really, really good.
We might have to play later. We might have to get into that later.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But Seattle Beer Week is off and running. You've got this event, which really cool to bring people down to Soto here and explore this space. It's super fun. It's an interactive space, which is I love that. I love that there's like stuff to do. Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of cringe a little bit at the name Fast Fashion Brewing, but unless you know the story, then you can really appreciate it. The story behind Fast Fashion Brewing is like Matt, when he was brewing all the beer here, was pumping out a brand new IPA or beer recipe like almost weekly. And so the joke is like IPAs are the fast fashion of beer. And Stefano is carrying that legacy by doing the same thing. But everything here in this tap room was either inherited from Ebbetsfield, taking over this space, or thrifted, gifted, like donated, secondhand use. Like everything in here.
Was Ebbetsfield was here?
Yes.
Before that? Oh, yeah. Ebbetsfield makes really cool, like retro.
Yeah, and we would get
baseball hats
made
and shirts
through
and stuff.
them.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, so taking over their space, they left behind like a bunch of little like treasures for us that we now use in some of like this decor and in the space. And that's kind of what I love about Fast Fashion Brewing is like we are about like having merch that is higher quality, not like something made like cheaply and like out of, the US or out of Washington State, frankly. And then, like having just like a fun, eclectic mix of secondhand, thrifted, gifted, like furniture and gaming and stuff. It's great.
It's super fun. It's a super fun space. And even just grabbing a piece of chalk and going at it on the walls.
The chalkboard walls are very fun.
So fun.
They're great.
So fun. Right on. Yeah. So what else do you have going on for Seattle Beer Week? You've got some other events to look forward to.
Yeah. So being like in the sales and operations position, my big thing is to make sure that like fast fashion is getting out there and getting our beer in front of people. So I signed us up for a ton of events. I got a really cool like crafted dinner set up with Latona Pub tomorrow night, and then the beer list is also curated.
That'd be Tuesday night.
Yeah.
This podcast might come out after that, but that's Tuesday night. That's fine.
Tuesday night, Latona Pub. It's going to be like a curated Italian menu with their chef Ramsey, who's been doing great things over there, and then with some beers that we have like handpicked for the menu.
Awesome.
And then Wednesday night, we actually have two events at the same time. We have a collab release with Moonlight Brewing, which Stefano came from Moonlight Brewing.
Oh, awesome.
And so we're having like a big tap takeover / party
Moonlight
at
Brewing,
Fast Fashion Lower Queen Anne.
Moonlight Brewing's the Santa Rosa-based brewery known for Death and Taxes is their Czech Dark Lager.
Yep.
And also... Well, what's the other? They have another Czech lager they're known for. Reality Check.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was one of those Czech puns. I knew Czech was in the name, but I couldn't. It didn't hit me yet. Yeah.
We have like a big party and tap takeover with Moonlight Brewing that night. And then also...
Where's that one at?
It'll be at the Fast Fashion Tasting Room in Lower Queen Anne
right.
/ the Masonry.
Okay.
And then we are also participating in a competition at Queen Anne Beer Hall where Fast Fashion and 9 other breweries are going to be competing in a like wing sauce competition.
Okay.
And whoever has the best wing sauce wins like a 3-month permanent handle at Queen Anne Beer Hall, which they are always slammed. So like we are really
Didn't you win that already?
I won it last year. Last year was a chili competition, and I was with Fort George Brewery, and I won that competition. I won not only first place for the best chili, but best beer and chili pairing. So I won both prizes.
Wow. All right.
So I'm hoping we can pull it off this year. Yeah.
Sounds like everybody else is up against some stiff competition in
I know.
that.
I was looking forward to E9 being at the wing competition because we were like neck and neck at the chili competition. Yeah, they have amazing cooks. If you've never been to E9 Brewing in Tacoma, highly recommend going and eating there.
Cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, how long have you been at Fast Fashion here? Because I think a lot of people that know you from Fort George, which is no longer the case.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're here now.
I am here now.
You were at Fort George for quite some time. How long?
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it seems like longer than that. I feel like
I know.
Again, I'm meeting both of you, just so everybody knows. I'm meeting both Sarah and Matt today for the first time in the flesh ever. We've been connected on the interwebs and social media and things, but
I know you more from your avatar photo on there, the blue or the orange.
Yeah,
I just sort through to actually see what Michael looked like because I just see that photo and it's like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
looks kind of like that little thing. Yeah. No, a friend of mine made that for me a long time. That he's actually he made that for me a long time ago. His name's Chris Patoyo. We call him Crispy. And Crispy is now the graphic designer for all things Vice Beer. And yeah, he does all that stuff. So it's kind of crazy how that's come about. Cause he made that for me one time. And, he made that back when the Doge meme was a big deal. And so like all around that little face of myself, it said like, such Michael, so Perozzo, wow, and all that. Yeah. You remember those memes? Yeah. So
incredible.
Yeah, I dumbed it down from there to it's my avatar on my social media platforms. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Georgetown. It was funny today. We're sitting at Georgetown, and actually Zach, who's running the board, the cameras, he's like, so why Georgetown? Why? He's like, isn't that like a college town next to Washington D.C.? And I was like, no, that's actually a neighborhood here in Seattle. It's called Georgetown, and that's why we call this Georgetown. But it is still a college near Washington D.C. The Georgetown Hoyas are a thing. It just so happens that today is the day that 27 years ago today, Michael Jordan completed what he called the Georgetown trifecta. I want to ask you guys, do you know what the Georgetown trifecta is?
It's got to do something with like the Knicks when Patrick Ewing was playing there, maybe. But that's
you're getting there.
That's the only. And I know it's like NBA playoffs time, but that's the only thing because I know Patrick Ewing played. He was around that era, and it was like, but I know he was from Georgetown. That's about it. And I imagine there's got to be 3 players from Georgetown, and he defeated them all or something in the playoffs.
You're really close. You're really close. There are 3 centers that came from Georgetown into the NBA in the late 80s, early 90s, and you named one of them, Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was the first one to come out of Georgetown. There were 2 other centers that came out of Georgetown. Do you know?
That's what I was going to say.
The only one I could from that era, it's like because I know Hakeem Olajuwon was Houston, so Dikembe Mutombo. I'm not sure where he played it.
Georgetown. Dikembe Mutombo's number 2.
It's who's? It wasn't Rick Smits.
No.
I can't.
Come on, Edwards.
No,
you know this.
it's Alonzo Mourning.
There it is.
Really?
There it is. You got all 3. There it is.
All I can think is like, who were the big guys during that era?
Right. You got it.
Who says you're all just looks?
So this day, 27 years ago, Michael Jordan finally dunked on Patrick Ewing, completing what he called his Georgetown trifecta. And his first one was Dikembe Mutombo, because Dikembe Mutombo actually challenged him during one of the All-Star games. And told him, "You've never dunked on me, you never will." And there's a famous highlight of Jordan dunking on Dikembe Mutombo and giving him the famous finger wag. Which was great. And then he dunked on Alonzo Mourning that next season, and then finally in the playoffs of that would be 1997, he dunked on Patrick Ewing. And so here's the other crazy thing: he gave both Mourning and Ewing the same finger wag.
Okay, I thought he got a T for it because arguably Mutombo had been the hardest one to do it. That was his game. Yeah, I mean they got commercials of him still swatting cereal boxes out of people's shopping carts and giving the no.
Years and years later. Years and years later. Speaking of sponsorship, we're going to take a quick break here to acknowledge our sponsors in this little segment that we call We're for Sale. You could sponsor this podcast. You can. You're welcome to. Because we don't have any sponsors. This is making $0. But if you'd like to sponsor our podcast, you can. In the meantime, we're going to give out some free promotion. I'll start. I'm going to give out some free promotion. You guys can also give out some free promotion by giving us one or two of your favorite commercial jingles that comes to mind that's very memorable for you. I'll start us out. I'll start us out and say the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. There you go, Folgers. That's a freebie for you guys.
Oh my God.
You got a commercial?
1877 cars for kids.
Yes.
Cars for kids. 1877 cars for kids.
Donate your car today.
Lives rent free in my head. Oh my God.
Yes. Hey, that's still an active thing too. You can actually do that.
Oh,
it's not a bad thing to do.
I can't remember the whole jingle, but if you're from the greater Spokane area in the 90s, this one might come to. It was it'd come on during the news. It was the Shanghai Inn in Spokane, and it was like, come on into the Shanghai Inn. The food is cooked and is really good. And I was like, it would go, and I was just like, I was always enamored by it. And I'll sing it to my wife every now and then.
So romantic.
And she, because we'll drive past, I think it's still there. The building was at least when we were in college, this big red building, beautiful, but they just had like this great commercial where like it was so welcoming that these two people opening these big doors, and there's like the galley of the banquet that was there waiting for you. And all I wanted when I was little to go was a Shanghai Inn, but I lived too far away. I lived up in Chihuahua, and I was like, Ma, Dad, it's like, take me there for my birthday. I got to go to the Shanghai Inn.
So now wait, where did you live? You grew up where?
Chihuahua, Washington.
I'm hearing. I've lived in Washington my entire 42 years on this planet and never heard this.
It's almost Canada.
Really?
It's almost Canada and Idaho. Have you ever heard the singer Alan Stone?
Yeah.
He's from Chihuahua.
Okay. Chihuahua.
His dad was my AAU basketball coach. Alan is a sweetheart.
Okay. Yeah. Spell Chihuahua.
Oh, I can hear that. Chewelah. Chihuahua.
Wow. Yeah. That was like a school fight song, I'm sure. Yes.
Spelling was our school fight song.
That's yeah.
We weren't good at anything else.
Okay. All right.
Could you spell Sammamish?
Nope.
Oh, come on. That's my hometown. Rude.
I wanted to make a callback joke there to how you graduated a year late in spelling or something, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it, but
well,
that's why you brew beer.
There's lore behind how I got to where I am, and it basically comes to my inability to read and spell is the root cause of it.
Sarah, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in
hail from?
Sammamish.
Okay.
Sammamish.
There we go.
Yeah,
Judges.
right next to Issaquah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I grew up there, born and raised in Washington, never left though. Went to college up in Bellingham, went to Western, go Vikings. We didn't have a football team though for the majority of the time I was there, which kind of sucks. But yeah.
But a great beer town.
Great beer town. I love visiting Bellingham.
It was even a beer town then because you had Boundary Bay and Chuganaut.
And Chuganaut.
Existed.
And then we also had, I'm totally blanking on the name of it right now. But there was
not Wander. Or
Wander was there.
Wander was there?
Wander was there.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, there was Wander, and then there's one other one I can't remember. But I had a
Colshan.
Colshan
had to be around that.
Colshan.
They're that old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Not that
but
old. I mean,
great
we
beer
shouldn't
town.
frown on these breweries for being old.
I'm
That's
just a
not what I'm
kid.
doing.
Yeah.
Like it's actually really awesome that they can have that legacy. A lot of people call them legacy breweries and whatnot, but like it's awesome that a brewery can maintain and do that, especially with what we've seen here over the last 4 or 5 years, where I think we've all witnessed a lot of unexpected closures and things like that didn't quite make it. But yeah, we can talk more about that. But one more thing, make 7-Up yours, and that will conclude our little segment there on this podcast that is sponsored by nobody.
Maybe you.
Yeah.
Yet. Maybe you. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. No. So Georgetown is one of those long-standing breweries as well. Is it 2002?
Yeah, we hit I think we're 21 now, officially 21.
You can legally drink now.
Georgetown
can
Congratulations.
drink your own beer.
Yeah. I think, they're legally 21 now, so they can drink their own product too.
Yeah.
And
that's fantastic.
it is kind of weird because you think it's like, Georgetown's not a legacy brewer, but in like the grand scheme of like other industries, it's extremely new still. But but we're pretty happy, pretty fortunate right now being where we're at.
And I think probably a lot of folks listening to this or watching this are even surprised by that. I know I was. I only knew that date because I saw your logo on the outside of the building today and saw the 2002 and was like, for real? Wait, no, like Manny's and Bodhisattva and Johnny Utah. These are all like just in the last decade kind of beers, which I'm sure many of those are. Manny's is probably way back.
Yeah, Manny's. Yeah, that was the inception because I think they got their license in 2002, but maybe didn't start making beer until 2003.
Okay,
that's kind of how it worked, I think.
Still,
yeah,
that's still we were all just babies then. I don't even think, full disclosure, I don't think I'd had my first beer yet in 2002 or 2003. I was a late bloomer. I came around about 2006, 2007, and was like, oh, okay, yeah, beer's fine.
Beer's cool.
Yeah, and then I got really excited about it right around, actually, the advent of Untappd.
Okay.
Untappd came up in about 2009, and I know a lot of people hate Untappd. I have today a very love-hate relationship with Untappd, but it has a lot to do with why I'm here right now. Why
it has its place.
It has a place.
I think my view on it now is like whatever gets people engaged in craft beer for me is like a positive thing now since craft beer is coming on the decline.
Yeah.
It's like if people can get excited about it, that's cool. It's like whether, they're getting excited about a hype brewery, coming in, shipped in from somewhere else that's not in this area and they're going uptown. It's like, I think that's rad. That's awesome. At least people are thinking about beer, getting excited about it. So I'm all for it. I'll go on there occasionally just to kind of read comments because I'm, if I make something new, I kind of want to just see not so much scores, but just what people say.
You want to know how it's received.
Yeah, just kind of want to see what's going on. And, sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. But there's also a lot of just kind of noise.
There is.
But yeah, don't lose sleep over it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's so going back to when I started on it, it was a personal log of what I liked and didn't like, and that's what I liked about it. And it used to do this thing. It doesn't really do it anymore. Not that I've seen. I'm not on there very much anymore, but it used to do this thing that was like, hey, based on you liked these beers, you might also like this beer. And it, that helped me understand like, oh, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. Even the challenges that were on there that was like, hey, you can win this badge for drinking 5 Belgian beers. I hated Belgian beers, but I strived to get that badge. And then, of course, level 2 of that badge and level 3 of that badge. And sure enough, like 15 Belgian beers deep, you realize, oh, there's some of these that I really enjoy. Yeah. And I think I understand this style now. But this app forced me to go do that where I probably would have skipped it. I probably would not have done that.
It gamified it, kind of.
Right.
Made it into a game that you got to enjoy and got a reward out of it.
And then I think that they probably made a little bit of a mistake when they took all those ratings, which those ratings, when I started out, it was like, these ratings are for me. These are for me to understand what I like and what I don't like. And then all of a sudden, it became like Yelp. It culminated all of those ratings and gave a score to the brewery. And I was like, oh, no, don't show them this. Because I wasn't rating these beers for your benefit. I was rating these beers for my education. And now it's combined. Now it's, now I'm drinking a beer style that I don't really like, but I'm still giving it like a 4.5 because I'm like, it's good for the style. Don't hate me.
Oh, God bless you.
Right?
Yeah. You need those ones out there.
Right.
I mean, everyone has a joke where it's like, it's like, I hate barrel-aged beer. I only drink IPA, 1 bottle cap or whatever it is. Or it's or the best is like, it's like great IPA too. It's like, oh, that's a 40%. That's like F-.
Sarah, you're giving me a lot of dirty looks and eye rolls over this Untapped conversation. So I feel like you have...
I'm really expressive. I can't really hide anything.
You have opinions about Untapped, I can tell.
You're in a safe place, Sarah. Say what you got to say.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So like I worked at Fort George Brewery for 2 years, right? Very established brewery, makes great beer.
Absolutely.
And we go through a lot to test and taste test and approve every beer that goes out the door. I continue to say we, even though I'm not with Fort George, because like I loved that brewery and I love those people and I love how much like time and effort and like passion they put into their craft. Miss you guys. But I can appreciate, breweries that go through a lot of like taste testing and refining every single beer that goes out before it reaches a customer's hands, right? And here at Fast Fashion, very similar. If a beer does not taste right, we dump it. And we're like, we're a small brewery. Every beer batch matters. And so when someone comes in and tries a beer that like, oh, well, I don't like IPAs, like 2 out of 5. It's really frustrating because from the sales perspective, there are bars and companies that don't buy beer unless it is a specific Untapped rating or above. I won't name anyone, but so like that was a thing I would encounter in the sales field representing Fort George Brewery and now Fast Fashion Brewing is encountering some people who watch Untapped very closely. And so like, yeah, we can, like, I know the account like Pilsner-ish, like they make fun of these like silly Untapped ratings of people who they try a beer where they know they don't like the style and they still give it a low score, not knowing anything about that beer style. And that actually negatively affects the brewery. I can't tell you how many times when I was with Fort George, I would go into either like a brewer's night or like a bottle shop, and I would overhear a customer checking the Untapped rating of a beer before ordering it because they would not order the beer if it had like a certain score or below.
Right.
It's interesting you say that because like I've heard, I don't know so much in Seattle, but in other places where I've heard of breweries like not making lagers for fear that would bring down their overall score.
Yeah, because the common issue with Untapped too that I see and hear about and experience.
Do you think that's why people don't make brown ales so often?
Brown ale is just it's a 3-5 across the board. It's the best or the worst in the world.
But you're not wrong. Like there are people who are like, this is the best lager I've ever had, but it's because it's a lager, they only give it a 3.5 out of 5 or maybe a 3.75 out of 5 because it's a lager. And then if it's like
they're comparing it to like the whole of beer instead of like within its style and what it is.
Yeah. Whereas or same thing with like a barrel aged stout, like they'll compare it to the style itself and like their own preferences and be like, oh, well, other people give barrel aged stouts high ratings. So it's not my favorite barrel aged stout. And like maybe objectively it is bad because it has like off flavors or something, but they'll still give it a 4 out of 5 because it's a barrel aged stout.
Oh, they have a
Right.
And that's
baseline.
really frustrating.
Yeah.
I imagine like I haven't gone on there for a hot minute, but I bet if you looked up that brewery that we talked about up in Bellingham that exclusively makes world-class lagers, and I bet that their score is not representative of the quality of the brewery.
Absolutely.
Probably true. That
Probably, if you looked at it, it's like that is not
true.
reflective of like the quality and like what they do.
It's not. And I don't, and so like I agree that like Untapped has its place. I used to use it, well, I still use it, but like I used to use it as a way to log beers that I've tried. Me and my cellarman do this constantly where we will try different beers and we log it and like maybe log our tasting notes too so we can, you know, learn from each other as to like what we are smelling, what we're tasting, what we're seeing, and comparing that. But like for me now, I either give it a 5 or I don't rate it at all because I'm just like so over other people taking Untapped like ratings to heart as to like the quality of that beer.
Well, now I want to change my answer.
So I'm curious then. There's this beer here with you on it, Sarah.
5 out
I'll
of 5.
hold that out for the camera there. 5 out of 5. Did your cellarman also give it a 5 out of 5? Of course, right?
Perfect.
Absolutely. What kind of Untapped ratings does this get? Tell us a little bit about this beer. That's just a super cheesy segue to talk about.
Yeah.
You're on a beer. This is Sarah. If you've seen this out in the wild, that's Sarah.
Yeah, actually, it was funny. So
It's called Bus Driver.
Stefano and Matt were over in Copenhagen for the Mikler beer conference thing. And we had sent over cases of this beer. And Stefano was like, yeah, like someone came up to me and they were drinking the Bus Driver IPA. And they're like, oh, wow, you put Sarah Moorman on the label. And Steph was like, oh, you know Sarah? And they're like, no.
Well, I think at one,
Like, what?
well,
what?
I think at one time, I think you might have had more Instagram followers than Georgetown does from your weightlifting
Yeah,
days.
that probably checks out.
Yeah.
But
And
Yeah.
well, now this is something that you both have in common as well. I even saw a comment when we introduced you when we introduced you both as guests on this, I saw you comment back and forth with one another that you wanted to do a push-up contest or something. Tell us about you're both into strength training. Is that the right term for it? And
I think she does. Well, she's professionally does it. I'm just at home, by myself.
Yeah, no, I actually started powerlifting competitively at 13 years old and have done it for a long, long time. And I actually coach other athletes for strength training outside of working for Fast Fashion Brewing.
That's super awesome.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Yeah, at some point I've asked her a few times. One of these days I need to make it up north where her gyms are, just because as far as some of my lifts, like deadlifts and my squats, I just need more. I need more structure and more direction. I was like, one of these days, I need to hire you for a few sessions just to be tell me what I'm doing wrong and what to do so I'm not going to hurt myself.
So what was really cool though, I used to run a fitness education conference here in Seattle where coaches would come to this conference to hear some of the best in the strength and health and nutrition industry do educational talks, and Matt came to one.
Yeah, that was
a few years ago.
That was the best bang for the buck, seminar.
Oh,
what it was.
You.
Yeah, you had some really legit people there, sports science folks that knew what they were, and it's just it was I wish I should have videotaped it so I could go back and watch some of those talks and.
All the speakers sent me their notes. I can send it to you. Okay. But yeah, everything aside, yeah, it's been really fun to heckle each other back and forth about weightlifting.
Yeah, and I've seen that online. Again, being connected with both of you online, but not in reality. I've seen you both, throw some jabs back and forth, so to speak, which is super fun. And this is not a world that I'm really familiar with. I mean, I assume there's more to strength training than just going into my garage and finding the heaviest thing and holding it above my head for a few seconds and picking it up again. There's more to it than this to really get the results you want, I guess.
Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Everyone... So whenever someone asks me a question as to what's the best way I can achieve this goal, whatever that goal is, my answer is it depends, because everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has a different athletic background. Everyone has likes and dislikes that go into making a good athletic program for someone. And everyone also has different goals and different access for equipment and nutrition that I try to keep into account, because not everyone can afford a gym membership or a home gym or whatever it is.
Right. We can't all have the Tom Brady diet.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But so it really just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Super fun. Let's invite somebody up here to ask a question. I've talked a lot. We've all talked a lot. Here's somebody. Gavin, come on up.
Okay, this is
you can cut right in front.
Son.
Cut right in front. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see Gavin dash across.
This is Matt Edwards' son, everybody.
Stand up right next to me here. Get as close as you can.
He's my sweet boy. I love him so much.
There you go. Squeeze on back here, and
you can see the
here's your question. Go ahead.
All right, for the two of you, one or the other, feel free to jump in front of the other if you feel so inclined. If you had to drink one and one only beer from a locally Seattle-based craft brewery for the rest of your life, one single craft beer, what would it be? And do
Crop Top Pilsner.
Oh man,
that was quick. Quick.
Yeah.
No, is that not what we're all three drinking right now? Is
exactly my point.
It's a German. It's a German Pilsner. That's what most folks in the house are drinking right now, and it is phenomenal. Matt, What's yours?
That's close second, but I'm a sucker for Happy Little Clouds by Cloudburst, that American Pilsner.
That is a good beer.
It's just a good beer.
Also a pilsner.
Also a pilsner, yeah, American style pilsner. It's a real bitter pilsner too, but it's got great aroma. It's well made. It's really good. Yeah, it's got Bob Ross right there on the logo. So if I'm on my desert island, at least I got that to look at.
Oh yeah, it's
there you go.
I'm a sucker for good marketing, and that label is so cute.
Yeah.
What about you, Gavin? What's your?
I was when I first moved here, I became very partial to Ravenna Brewing over more northeast.
Love that.
And Voltova, also a pilsner.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good one.
Pilsners all around.
Yeah, almost had it like every other week since I've moved to the States. So.
Rip.
I swear I'm not trying to be trendy. I'm not trying to follow the trend or anything. This is honest truth, and I alluded to it earlier that when I went to Georgetown today, I went straight to Rogers
How much
Pilsner.
did you pay him?
Because there's nothing. That is because of my first visit to Seattle, and that walking away from that with two. I walked away from that with 2 growlers. They were $8 for the glass and the beer inside at that point in 2013. That's where we're at now. It was like 2 growlers, $8 a piece. I took 2 growlers home and really loved that beer. And I didn't see it in Southwest Washington for another 2 or 3 years. But I remember when I started to see Rogers Pilsner show up in my neck of the woods around Vancouver and was very excited to see it.
Great answer.
I mean, it's definitely like a good
and I'm not
shelfy
sucking up
beer.
at all
Yeah.
to the guests. I really love that beer.
And that would be your Seattle go-to?
That's my Seattle go-to. That's it.
I love it.
I know you, Gavin. You're also. Let's let the folks at home know that you're also at Georgetown. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I work in the tap room and part-time in events.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm sure you're happy with my answer too. It's fine. Thanks, Gavin.
He's a great face up there.
He is. Good job, Gavin.
Okay, let's do this little fun segment I like to do. We're gonna go ahead and pretend that there are multiple realities, that there are different planes of existence we could live on. Into the multiverse. This is going into the multiverse. I want to ask you guys to imagine a world where the Seattle SuperSonics still exist.
Oh my God, why are you gonna get me like that? Ouch.
What does the world look like that the Seattle SuperSonics still exist?
Well, if anyone remembers Hilliard back in the day, so they actually canned a Saison, so I imagine they're canning Super Saison right now in SuperSonics colors.
Okay.
Selling at 16-ounce cans at the stadiums.
Of Saison. You think of the Seattle SuperSonics?
It's a very a lot of things change when the Sonics. It's been quite the butterfly effect, as they said.
That is quite the butterfly effect.
I'm going way out.
If you're saying that if the Seattle SuperSonics existed in 2024,
Saison would be the number one.
Saison would be
Seattle style Saison.
The Seattle style Saison would be the drink of choice at Key Arena, because Key Bank would also still exist. I'm
Cut
sure.
him off. Cut him off.
Yep.
And Hilliard's would be selling Seattle's Super Saison at Sonics games. That's a bold take, my friend.
That is a bold
That's the first
take.
hot take.
Oh, wow.
I love that for so many reasons. Sarah, what if the Seattle SuperSonics still existed?
Not to be like a Debbie Downer, but the women's basketball team would probably not be as popular. Like Sue Bird is freaking phenomenal.
Absolutely.
She is so great.
Yeah.
And we have a phenomenal women's basketball team. So I unfortunately, with the state of professional sports in general, I don't think
Interesting.
they would be as popular
Yeah.
as they are.
I'm gonna counterpoint that.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Please
will
do.
I will counterpoint that, and I will say that no. I think that if more people were going to Key Arena, as I will always call it, even though one of my really good friends actually does AV for the Kraken in Key Arena, as I will always call it, but he. I think that if you have that many people going to basketball games more often, you have more basketball fans going to basketball games, and therefore, like, I don't know.
I'm gonna tap in my friend Claire.
I think you would get more people.
Goes to, so like the Seattle Storm are great, but so are the Seattle Reign, which are our women's soccer team. And so I'm gonna tap in Claire, who is a huge fan of the Seattle Reign.
Claire, come here. Come on, Claire.
Do you
come on
think
up.
we would have the
Here's
same?
Claire, everybody. Here's somebody.
Fuck you. Do you think we would have the same amount of attention to the Seattle Storm if we had a men's basketball team?
I think maybe.
Okay, all right.
Just saying, the Seattle Reign hold one of the records in the U.S. for women's soccer game attendance, and we have the men's team, which has boosted attendance. They do like back-to-back headers.
No, like I would love to be wrong, honestly. Like,
Yeah. That's what when I brought up the idea of like, oh, I'll play counterpoint to this. I figured you'd love to be wrong, because I really do think that like if more people were going to Seattle SuperSonics games, just like a lot of people go to Sounders games, and you see the advertisements and you see the things, I'm down in Portland,
like, the
where
investment of advertising though,
is
so skewed,
and it still sucks that you need a men's team to have women's team attendance.
Right.
This is true. I see it in Portland where we have the Timbers. Sorry.
Oh,
and the Thorns.
to be clear,
Sorry.
I'm from Portland and I am RCTID.
Okay, we don't need to talk about that.
We're friends.
Rude.
And so
She invited me up here.
Okay, good. This is good.
Why did I do that?
Because I do see, even though now the Timbers and Thorns are separated as far as a ownership entity and everything, I do still see the back and forth that affects the women's game positively. I think. I think without it in a vacuum, I don't know. I wonder about that one. That's
well, since we've talked about the Seattle style saison and then Sue's saison, it's got wings because she's a bird.
She is a bird.
Honestly,
it all goes back to that beer.
When can we expect Sue's saison from Georgetown?
We did. I think we had some. We had a few IPAs named after some of the players.
Okay.
I think we had. What were they? We had Sue.
Claire, do you have a
we had a few of them.
a beer name for a Storm or Rain player that you'd go to?
I'm not very good with names, but I might like this multiverse if there's a Sue Saison at a basketball team. Like, I would be a basketball fan instead of a soccer fan.
Claire loves
and
saison.
It bleeds the success of everyone.
She might be a little
go.
biased.
We're bringing back saisons. We're bringing back brown ales.
Please no.
We're doing it. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
I won't make you stay up here.
Love you.
It's that is awesome. I grew up an incredibly huge Sonics fan, and went to a lot of games. Particularly, I started going to games in '96. Went to a lot in '97, '98, '99. Went to college. Didn't go to so many for 2000, 2001, 2002. Got back into it 2003, 2004, 2005. The Ray Allen years. Luke Ridnour, all that, Rashard Lewis, good times. And it broke my heart and soul when they left town. It really, it affected me on a deep level, and at the same time, I found gainful employment in the Portland area as this was happening. And Mr. Sonic himself, Nate McMillan, became the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, who were my hated rival. And Martell Webster of, I believe, Rainier High School, or was he at Garfield? Somewhere up here. He went to high school. Brandon Roy from UW was on the team. And I was like, I think I can find myself being a Blazers fan. I think I can make my way around to this. And because I was such a hardcore, passionate NBA fan, I just like went so just bonkers on the other side of the pendulum. I started going to Trailblazers games in a Darth Vader helmet, and I became known as Darth Blazer. There is still a Twitter account. You can go look at all of that. The Dark Lord of the Swish.
That's great.
That's great.
That's even better than Seattle Saison. That's good.
So that obviously would not have happened if the Seattle SuperSonics would have persisted. In fact, I probably would have not. As I was seeking employment at the time, coming from Centralia, Washington. Centralia, named for its central location between Portland and Seattle.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Just get.
It was one of those things that I could have gone north or south, and everything took me south, and then I ended up being a Trailblazers fan. That I will say this, in a heartbeat, I will drop the Portland Trailblazers if the Seattle SuperSonics come back. It will be over between me and the Trailblazers. I will return to the light side and once again be a Sonics fan. So
dang,
it keeps sounding closer and closer. Like it's not if, it's a when now, it seems like.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's enough people behind it. There's enough names have really come out in favor of it to make it happen.
So Luke Ridenour, when I was playing at Chewelah, he was at Blaine, so they're the same division.
He was, yeah.
And we would see, because we'd go to state, and he'd be there. And yeah, he shouldn't have been playing against like kids from like that had like our high school is like 400 kids. He should have been playing like some elite school like that. He was like just so many steps above everyone else.
That's awesome. I really liked him when he came out of college, and a big Luke Ridenour fan. I still have a Luke Ridenour signed jersey, and so I love it.
I don't mean to segue too much, but I got a little sports trivia for this place.
Okay. So
when Matt Storm got this place, there's a lot of Matts in this industry. We're just happen to be one of them. When he got this place, it was empty, and he was showing me and my wife around. We're going to the Sounders game, and on the wall was a Tennessee Titans helmet. And I was like, hey, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, it was here and I left, and I picked it up, and it was autographed by Michael Roos, who played for the Tennessee Titans. He was a left side tackle.
Okay.
Where the story goes in. So my best friend since first grade, actually just hung out and had beers with him yesterday. He lives out in Snoqualmie. That was his roommate in Eastern. So, So they lived together. He went to go play for he got drafted by the Tennessee Titans. Like he did the red field at Eastern. And it turns out, I think he did a collab with Ebbetsfield here. And so I gave him a helmet and signed it. And then I found the helmet, gave it to my buddy Bryce, so he could give it to his kid who was like 10 at the time, Weston, because he's like, oh, wow. And then Bryce got a hold of, I think, Mike and told him, he's like, oh, yeah, Matt found your helmet. And his response was, they left it there? They didn't take it with them. I mean, he wasn't like, he's like, oh, they left that behind. I mean, but they left a lot. I mean, it was like sewing machines and stuff, but it was on the wall.
Some
so
very
now
expensive equipment was left.
So it's in my buddy's, in his kid's bedroom, hanging up on the wall now.
Oh man, that's a tough one to learn.
Yeah,
that way.
Oof.
But at least it ended up in good hands, though.
Yeah, good home.
Can we do we have time for one more multiverse? All right, let's do it. Let's go back into the multiverse. into the multiverse. All right, I'm going to flip this one around. Imagine a world where the Seahawks actually let those trucks keep on driving down I-5 in 1996 and drive all the way down to Anaheim, and the Seahawks left Seattle.
I was 6
What's the impact?
years old,
I'm sorry.
sir.
Fair.
Thank you.
That's a womp womp on all of us who are older than that.
yeah. Thank you.
I can tell you something that would never happened.
What's that?
I think Kyle's got a story. Because Kyle used to work at P.F. Chang's in Bellevue, and Marshawn would come in there and order a bunch of food to go, and he'd order Patronacy. What is a Patronacy?
What's a Patronacy?
Patronacy.
Half Patron, half Hennessy.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Exactly,
It's
that's
half
what Marshawn-
Patron, half
So,
Hennessy.
If that had happened, he would never got to tell us about Marshawn coming in and ordering Patronacies at the P.F. Chang's in Bellevue.
Wow. Did you ever see Eddie Lacy? I'm curious.
No,
Okay.
I would have remembered.
Now you
Gilly.
laughed a lot, Gilly. You laughed a lot. You know why I asked that question?
I lived in Wisconsin when he was drafted to Green Bay.
Yes.
And I remember all the stories about him in Green Bay at the strip clubs and eating at the buffet.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's a
I
big
had
dude.
friends that would see him
I'm clutching
in
my
Green Bay
pearls right now.
And just ask
But
me-
specifically P.F. Chang's.
Yes.
Do you know? So do a word search sometime on Twitter. Just look up Eddie Lacy and type in the 2 words. Sorry, this is gonna maybe sound a little off, but I'm gonna say it. China food, and you will find hundreds of tweets
Yikes.
of Eddie Lacy talking about his love for what he called China food. And so I wondered if you ever saw Eddie Lacy just for that. Sorry. So if the Sonics left Seattle and moved to their proposed destination was Anaheim.
Or the Seahawks, you mean?
Sorry, the Seahawks.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Anaheim. Oof.
They were going to go to Anaheim. And I don't know, they probably would not have maintained the name the Seahawks. That would be weird. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Down there, they would have to adopt a new name, but
The Seagulls.
There'd be no Super Bowl babies. There'd be just people who just don't
there'd
exist.
be no Super Bowl babies.
Yeah, those people just
So
disappear
the
like in the Marvel
population of
movies.
the greater Seattle area would be decreased by
Yeah.
what you think?
Yeah, because they'd be 10 now, so all those 10-year-olds are gone. They don't exist. Yeah, just lost in the system.
Mad.
Do you
That's what happens.
do you think there's a number of 18-year-olds though that are like 2006 NFC Championship babies when they beat the Carolina Panthers in 06? Do you think there's
There could be
it could have had an effect on that too?
There's a few Beastquake babies probably.
I mean,
Throwing that interception
That
in
was
that
a
Super Bowl
great-
probably stopped a lot of them too.
So
That was
I
great.
went to I came up here for that game against the Carolina Panthers, the NFC Championship game. It was a home game here. If the Seahawks won, they were going to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they lost in the Super Bowl to the Steelers that year. But long story short, I did not get into the game. I could not find tickets. I literally came up here just hoping I would find someone who would sell me tickets. Did not get into the game. But after the game, I did get to just kind of celebrate in the streets with just everything. And I still have this picture that I kind of treasure. That it's this older guy. He must have been 50 at the time. And he is just high on life. And he's got this huge sign over his head that just says, he's wearing a Rick Meyer jersey, number 3. And he has this huge sign over his head that just says, "Now I can die." I just love that photograph. That I'm just like, that was the happiest day of that guy's life. It's probably not even close. I don't know if he had any children. I don't know who he was. But I have that picture, and that guy is just the happiest
You need to
dude.
find him.
Maybe we'll throw a picture up on the
AI's
YouTube
got to be able to find him now.
Maybe
AI can
we can
track him
try.
down.
We can try. All right. We're getting down to the end of our time, but I want to introduce you guys to one thing. So we had a we had some turnover at our brewery. We've had a couple different faces come and go, but at Vice Beer, we had a guy named Aaron Copeland. He came up from Moonraker. Is where he was for 4.5 years, and then he helped start Forland Brewing, and then he went to Ex Novo, and then when Ex Novo left town, he came to us, and his last day with Vice Beer was this last week, and he left us with a gift that I hope you guys will be game to use this gift with me and see what this is.
If this involves Underberg, I'm out.
There's no Underberg involved.
Okay. Go.
But there's probably a crop top Pilsner involved.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. We're back.
We're back, we're back.
Very excited to be involved.
Okay.
That's all I
Hold
can
on.
say.
Let me grab this here.
I'm scared.
He is hard like an Underberg.
This right here, it's called the Chuganaut. Patent pending.
Oh, yeah,
This
that
is-
makes it very official.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the Chuganaut. I need to show you this.
I'm scared.
Oh wow, that's some hardware.
Yeah, what the
Oh
fuck
gee.
is that?
I see what it is. Oh, that's just like a
This
shock.
looks out
That's
of
just
like
a beer
Men in
bong.
Black. This is like
You understand.
That's just
you understand what this is.
I know. I'm gonna chip a tooth on that thing.
Try not to.
I would love not to chip a tooth on that.
Gilly, help me.
This is really fun. This is a new device. Patent pending, of course. The Chuganaut.
Of the universe.
It's quite heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about strength training, but I do feel like one of the Tusken Raiders on Star Wars when I have this. I'm just like,
Yeah.
check that out. It's got some
Yeah, this has some
weight to it.
some heft.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this hardware.
You know what those parts are, I'm sure.
That's a
I do
dense
not.
one. That's a dense unit.
Yes, yeah. What? So break it down for me. I'm not as technical in the
Well,
in the-
you've got
what do we got here?
You got 4 tri-clamps. You got
Yep.
2 sight glasses, and you got an 1.5-inch valve on there. And they're not the cheap ones; those are the quality ones. So they're extra.
Okay.
There's even more stainless, and you got what looks like a kind of a keg coupler hose adapter on one end.
Yes.
And then you got just like a regular barbed fitting for it looks like a 1-inch hose on
Yes.
the other end. And it's
So this is for CO2 breakout over here.
This man has it all. He has the good
So-
looks, the body, and the brains.
Let Sarah continue. Let her go
Matt
on.
Edwards, everyone.
This is awesome. So we'll put beer in this. Are you guys game to try this? Are you guys
I'm
down?
game to watch Sarah give it a go.
Oh, fuck you, Matt Edwards. No, I take it all back.
Actually, you know what? If you make sure you get our son home, Gavin, I want to see Gavin on that thing.
We just want to make sure Gavin gets home safely,
So I think you need to throw his
Absolutely.
scooter in the back of your car. Or he can throw his scooter in an Uber. I'll pay for your Uber ride home. I mean,
This only holds 1 pint.
We will
it's like,
try it.
and we'll do a crowdfund raise to fix your chipped tooth when that thing slams down on your mouth.
we will try it.
You guys game
Yeah.
to try this?
Yeah, we will try
We can
it.
try this. What we're going to do is normally we would peace out on the podcast right here. We're going to do a little bonus activity after this. We're going to take a camera back somewhere where it's okay if we spill a little bit of beer. And
way back then.
we're gonna see what happens with the Chuganaut.
not over this nice carpet right here.
No,
Not on the
over
carpet.
No, don't.
No, not on the carpet. Not on the carpet. No, back where there's some drains and things. Let's see what happens when when these folks try the Chuganaut.
The Chuganaut. Sounds like a franchise.
Yeah.
Patent pending.
Yeah. That's going to be like on infomercials at midnight now. The Chuganaut.
my
Take your
God.
party level up.
We were actually talking about filming
ready.
a commercial for the Chuganaut. All right.
Like, this isn't
That's
your
it. We're done here.
This isn't
And
your
we'll-
grandpa's beer bong.
Hey, everybody. This whole podcast doesn't happen without the folks behind the scenes. Tonight we've got Zach Denton. He's always back there.
Thank you, Zach.
Filling in for Sean Burke tonight is the Nathan Whited. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan. This is the Seattle Beer Week episode. We're not going to sign off until we Chuganaut.
Open it first and then take my finger off, or I gotta do it.
It's kind of simultaneous. So like, you're gonna turn it upside down. Go ahead and turn it upside down. Yep.
Okay. Oh.
And then no. Yep. You're gonna want to do that in one motion as you come up.
Jesus criminy. All right. Okay. I'm so glad I'm working tomorrow.
There it is. All right. Woo. All right.
I can see why I
Took off the nice shirt.
I've only done this with like Pilsners. I haven't done this with
Is
a
your turn now?
IPA. Yeah, I'm gonna do it this time. So this is only my third time with the Chuganaut. There we go. You're drinking from this.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep, hold that. So as you tilt this up, you're gonna go straight with this, put your mouth on this, and let your finger go, like all in one motion. So as you come up with it, turn that straight, and as soon as you got that straight, let go of the top.
So tilting
And
up
down
is
it
going,
goes.
is going to.
But make sure you got your mouth on it before you let it go.
All right.
Yeah.
So lifting up right now is going to do everything, right? Okay.
Yep. Don't overthink it. Oh. There it is. Yeah, open it. There it is. Yeah, down it goes. You got it. Take your finger off the top. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You got it. Goes down easy. All right. It counts.
Okay.
All right.
Any final words?
Hey, that was Overthinkr.